going on, guys? Nick here. Today I'm going to give you guys a review of the non-stop tuning lightweight pulleys that I installed onto the 2013 BRZ. There's going to be a quick overview of the install, how hard it was, the differences that it made in weight and how the car feels. So we're going to get into it quick. Probably not going to be too long of a video. There's not too much to talk about them, but I do want to give you guys a lot of the information that I got out of using these pulleys. So first off, we're going to talk about the install of these parts. Install on these is actually it's not too bad as long as you have the proper tools to do it. These pulleys are going to be torqued onto the car pretty tight, so getting them loose is a little bit of a challenge. To do the alternator pulley, you need a impact gun because we had a hard time getting it off without using one. Also, to do the crank pulley, you need a breaker bar, and we used 2 people on that breaker bar to get it loose, or else we couldn't get it to come loose. And then to do the water pump pulley, we used just a basic ratchet, but we also used like a tiny screwdriver pick to hold in the holes that weren't broken loose, so that we could finally get them to come off. But after it's all said and done, the install probably takes around a half an hour. 20 minutes, half an hour, somewhere around there. And the install is pretty straightforward. Just got to be very careful with how you do it. Make sure that the seals all go back on right, because there's a seal on your where the crank pulley is, like a little rubber seal. Make sure that goes back onto the car. Also, you keep in mind that there is a keyhole that the pulley has to sit on, and it has to sit flush onto it, or else it could potentially screw up your motor pretty decently. So those are just things you have to keep in mind when installing these parts. But honestly, the install, not too bad at all. Alright, so now we're going to get into the difference in weight that it made. The smaller pulleys like the alternator and water pump didn't make too much of a difference in weight. It probably cut about half the weight of the originals, which was probably, between the both of them, only about 11 or 12 ounces, not even a pound. But the big difference you get is when you swap out the crank pulley. Stock crank pulley on this car is, I believe it was 76 ounces, which if you translate that to pounds, to put it in perspective, it's about 4.8 pounds. And I mean, that's pretty significant to be the weight of a pulley, considering what the non-stop tuning crank pulley was. That pulley ended up coming in at 13 ounces, which isn't even a pound. So the difference in weight on the crank pulley is extremely significant in the amount of weight that you're going to be taking off of the car, and it's rotational weight. So keep in mind that you're going to be cutting a lot of weight when using these pulleys. So now we're going to get into how the car actually feels when you're driving it with the difference in weight of the pulleys. The first thing you're going to notice is your throttle response is going to be a lot more touchy than it was. The BRZ is known for having very good throttle response, but this the extra weight that's cut off of it makes a pretty big difference in how the throttle feels. When you touch the throttle, the revs are going to climb slightly higher, and they're also going to fall slightly faster, so you have to be a little bit faster in the way that you shift. But honestly, with the way the car feels when the revs drop like that, it's very smooth, and especially when you're doing higher speed driving where you're going to be shifting like higher at the red line, the revs drop faster, and it makes it a lot easier to shift, and the car is a lot smoother in the way that it drives when you're driving like that. So that's also one of the biggest pluses, is that the driving is a lot smoother. A couple things that I've noticed, I don't know if this is just me or if this is actually what these do for you. Downshifting has been a lot easier. When you rev match downshifting, you don't have to like really tap the gas as much as you did, but downshifts have been a lot smoother now that I've had these. Also, when you're in a lower gear, like cruising through town like I am now, if you're at, say, alright, I'm in 3rd gear right now and I'm about to go up past 3,000 RPM in a little bit, if I let off the gas, the engine braking, if you will, when you let off the gas is a lot less harsh when you let off the gas, if you will, if that makes a lot of sense. The car doesn't really like yaw forward as much anymore because of the less weight on the crank, so that when you let off the gas, it's not as abrupt, so it's a lot smoother in the way that you do it. Like here, it doesn't really like push you forward when you let off the gas, which is, it feels a lot smoother. The whole thing that I've noticed about how the car is with these is that the car feels a lot smoother. It's smoother in the way that it runs, in the way that you downshift, upshift, and just everything in general about the smoothness of the car. Also, one thing about these pulleys are they look a lot better than the stock ones. So I mean, if you're into the engine dress up kind of thing, having the red pulleys on the car rather than the ones that are stock, which were just like black and chrome and silver and all this other stuff. Having the red on it looks really good, and then after if you do like other engine dress up things that would match it, like I'm going to be doing to my car, it'll all come together and it'll look really clean. But they do look a lot better than the stock ones, on top of the way that they feel on the car. So now the last thing I want to talk about is the price. I was fortunate enough to have these sent to me by another YouTuber, Doughboy's Garage. If you guys didn't watch the install video of the car, but I was fortunate enough to have these sent to me to put onto the car. If you want to buy these for the alternator, crank, and water pump pulley, I believe it's around $250. That's up to you if you think that it's going to be worth it to do on your car or not. I feel as though, like, with the way that it looks now and how smooth it is, I feel like it would be worth it to spend the money on them. I'll do another one quick here. I'm in 4th gear right now, downshifting to 3rd. Fast like that, the car remains smooth. There's no like jerkiness about it or anything like that. It's just 100% smooth. The one thing people do talk about on the internet, and why a lot of people don't like to get lightweight pulleys on their car, is because a lot of people claim that they do make horsepower and they don't. It's not going to actually make your car make any more power. It could cause less drivetrain loss. Personally, from my experience with having them on the car feels no faster than it did. A lot of it's all of how smooth it feels and how the revs climb up and down the car a little bit faster than they did. So that's the only thing I've noticed about it. Or what you call, slow down and do a 2nd gear 40. And this is 2nd gear, 40 miles an hour, go. Alright guys, I want to thank you for checking out the quick little review video of the non-stop tuning lightweight crank, alternator, and water pump pulleys for the 2013 and up Subaru BRZ. I would recommend putting them on your car. I'm very satisfied with these parts, and again, I want to thank Doughboy's Garage for sending them to me so they can be put onto the car. Alright, you guys can check out his channel up here. I'll drop a little link for it. But again, thank you so much for checking out this video. Leave a thumbs up if you liked it. If you guys have any questions about the pulleys, feel free to leave them below. And thanks again for watching. Take care.